Joining me now to break down these decisions, former federal prosecutor Shan. Nice to see you in person.
Good to see you.
What do you make of, let's start with the birthright citizenship one, the Chief Justice writing the majority opinion. Citizenship then and now was the right to have rights to freely participate in our political community. The framers of the 14th Amendment extended that promise to every freeborn person in the land.
I think the court got it right, although, frankly, I'm surprised it should have been a 9-0 decision. And it should have been more of a no-brainer to me. Probably could have let the cases stand below since the Trump administration was losing below. But it comes up here, and you look at the length of some of these dissents, and it's really kind of remarkable, the points that they're trying to make in it. I was particularly struck by Justice Thomas's very long
So here's part of it. He said, I am not sure that today's opinion will stand the test of time. The citizenship clause added greatly to the dignity and glory of American citizenship. He goes on to say today's opinion devalues that citizenship. I respectfully dissent.
It's really hard to understand how he comes to that line of reasoning, particularly because a little bit of a zinger directed at him, I think, by Justice Jackson, because Thomas is a big advocate of the colorblind analysis in the Constitution, and yet his dissent here really relies on the idea that this time it was very race and color conscious, that was only designed for emancipated black slaves.
The president calling on Congress to do something, is that going to happen, or this is case closed?
They can try to do something. However, here's the problem. Even if they were able to do something, I think that's a tough road to climb, they still have to survive the constitutional scrutiny, and it's really only an amendment that can change something here.
On the transgender case, this is something that President Trump talked about quite literally every single day down the home stretch of the 2024 campaign. That was the victory that he got today. You don't think this is necessarily over, though, and what you mean by that is at the state level. Explain. Right.
So first of all, I think the court did jump the gun some here. It's a very complex factual issue, very specific to each case. They could have let the lower courts kind of finish the fact-finding, litigating it. I think it may come back here because right now, as you know, this says nothing wrong with states that want to ban it. Lots of states don't ban it, so I think the next step is going to be when they can force states to ban it. I think that's what's coming down.
So who would bring that? How would that happen, forcing a state to ban this?
Folks who, you'd have to find your plaintiffs on that side.
Fair.
But the same folks who feel that it's wrong to allow transgender athletes in would want to say, it's really, this case just says you can stop them in certain states. We don't want them ever. And that's the kind of position they're going to take.
Trump at the Supreme Court, the president at the High Court, 24 wins, 8 losses. What do you make of that? Is it just as simple as 6 of the 9 are conservative ideologically, something else? What do you make of that scoreboard there?
I think it has a lot to do with the ideology of the court right now. But even more than that, I think they are so interested in jumping in on the cases, particularly you look at the use of the shadow docket, they are just way overactive as a court. Some of that perhaps is the age. You have these young conservatives who are very in their prime, vital. They've been chomping at the bit to get at this stuff. Very little restraint right now.
All right, we'll leave it there. They'll be back in October, right?
Yeah, October.
All right, Shan.
All right.
Nice to see you. Thank you, sir.